Today's episode is something special. It's part of a series I call Out Loud and On Purpose, where we talk about the things that matter the most: family, identity, creativity, and legacy. The stuff we usually keep tucked away in our journals. We bring it to the light because naming it is the first step to living it. And today we're talking about family culture. Not the kind you inherit by default, the kind you create by design. Family culture is the vibe of your home. It's the compass your kids carry long after they forget what the actual rules were. It shows up in how you make decisions, how you handle conflict, what you celebrate. Whether we mean to or not, we're always building a family culture. The question is, are we doing it intentionally? You don't have to hope that your values will stick. You can name them, live them, and build a shared language that becomes your family's foundation. So today, I've invited someone I do life with, someone who helped co-create the culture we now live by as a family. In true WOLFPACK fashion, I couldn't talk about family culture without bringing in the alpha himself. Reclaim your rhythm. Rethink the rules. Rewrite your life. This is Wildly Intentional, the show where we question the scripts we've inherited and build a life, family, and legacy on purpose. If you're done living on autopilot, come with a curious mind and a courageous heart. Here, we talk about what it means to question, unlearn, create, and build what truly matters. I'm your host, Mandy, maverick mom of three, maker, family culture builder, lifelong question asker, and the friend people call when they're ready to rethink, well, everything. I'm here to shake the norms, tell the truth, and light the way forward. All right, welcome back, Wild One. He's an Army veteran, a recovering real estate agent, the chore captain of our farm, and the calm, steady force behind both our family rhythm and this podcast. I'm the go, he's the whoa. And together we've built a life that's wildly intentional, a little chaotic, and full of heart. He's also the one running sound, editing this podcast, and cheering me on through every draft, every messy middle, and every big dream I have. He's a big kid at heart, an incredible dad, and the kind of man who shows up with quiet integrity every single day. So without further ado, please welcome my partner in all things, Tom.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, Tom, let's dive right in. I want to just thank you for being here and for saying yes to this wild ride.
Absolutely.
Do you want to start by just telling a little about yourself?
Well, that was a great intro. A lot of those descriptions embody who I am as a person. But yes, it's true. I am a big kid at heart. And, it's one of those things that I really cherish, and having the time to spend with our kids in their play mode, it's so much fun and brings a ton of joy to me. So that is probably the thing I love the most about kind of my persona. And we're all big kids at heart in all reality. Just sometimes it comes out a little more in others. And that's one thing I definitely cherish about myself. But it is hard to talk about yourself. I don't like to do that.
Well, honey, they love you. They adore you. And they love when you get down on their level and play with them.
Yeah.
That's, I think, what every kid wants, is to just be seen and present with their parent for, I don't know, a magnet tile creation or
Legos.
For sure.
God, do I love some Legos.
And so do they, right?
And you have definitely become a big fan of Legos lately.
Yeah, I felt like I didn't really do that as a child very much.
You missed out.
And I am making up for it now.
Totally.
Well, okay, so talking about us as kids, what is something that you wish you had been taught growing up?
Ooh. Many, 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 many things. Hindsight is 20/20, so they say. I think for kind of the purpose of this episode, when I look back at my childhood and, how my parents kind of did things and what that really looked like for my sister and I, and how they led with direction or not direction, I don't really feel like there was something quote unquote intentional They were doing the best that they could with some of the knowledge that they had. I think the big thing that probably stuck was, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And, it's still a solid piece of advice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think every kid grew up hearing the golden rule, right? And I think very few kids actually heard like the platinum rule, which is like to actually treat others as they want to be treated, not as you want to be treated, which is a huge difference in perspective. But
Absolutely.
I mean, a solid rule nonetheless.
Yeah.
I think it's funny, how you're describing your parents growing up not really intentional. I think like that literally goes for all parents in the 80s and 90s, right? It was definitely a very different time. Get outside. Don't come back. Just go be a kid. It was very different.
Yeah, they literally had commercials that were, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Our parents had to be reminded that, hey, you have kids and they're somewhere running amok. You should probably remember.
But like how awesome, we're kind of sidetracking, but
True.
that's such a...
It was a fun time.
There's such a great innocence in that.
Absolutely.
Well, let's bring it back to today, but let's also go back before we had the framework that we have. So before we had an acronym, the WOLFPACK, or the poems that we've made as a family, do you remember what was going on in our home that really made us want something more?
Yeah. I mean, it was really what we started to see was this shift in, number one, our friends. We lost a lot of friends, and nothing really in a terrible, bad way. It was just kind of a drifting apart, so to speak. And family, all sides of our family, there was, just tension building, and things were, dysfunctional would be a very good word for that.
Some estranged relationships happening too.
Correct. And I think part of that too was seeing that for what it was and kind of the growth stages that we were in, not only individually as man and wife, parents, and personally as individuals, because we had been going through a heck of a lot of personal growth and self-reflection. We started to resonate more with, hey, this shedding of people in our life is opening up the opportunities for new ones to come in. And the more we were thinking about how we were being raised growing up, how we want to be intentional about how we are raising our kids today, and going back to the 80s, so to speak, it was a different time, but we're raising our kids in this time. And we're having to factor in way more, in my opinion, than people in the 80s did. So much more that we're still having conversations about how do we teach our kids X, Y, and Z, or when do we go down these roads with them. And so to your point of when did this all kind of come about, it was a little bit of a gradual progression, to be honest. Don't you think?
Yeah. And I think the bottom line was like, we didn't want to get to a point where we were going to have dysfunctional relationships with them or estranged relationships potentially in adulthood with them. We want them to keep coming to us and to see that we're open and receptive and here for them. And I think that's what kind of gave us this, we need a solid ground.
Yeah. I honestly got to the point where I'm like, I don't want my kids to have to go to therapy for me. Like,
right. We want to give them a childhood that they don't have to heal from.
Great way to put it.
That's, I think, our underlying goal.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. That's tall order. Right? That I think that's there, like to your point, there's just so much social pressure today and so much that we're dealing with that it's just, it's a lot.
It's way a lot.
Getting ready to start this episode, Tom, I was just, honestly, for days, I've been trying to think about like, where did WOLFPACK start for us? Like, I can't even really place it. It's like, I remember in 2020 having conversations with the kids and even neighbor kids and people that were afraid to go outside about there's wolves and sheep, and that conversation then just making the wolves, and then thinking, oh, apex predators, and just how much the kids love animal tracks and stuff, like the eyes on the side, run and hide, eyes in front, go hunt. And like knowing we're an eyes in front animal, and then just the wolf just keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. And then that we love the moon with Eureka Moon Farm, and the kids, we love to howl at the moon with them on full moons. And so there's something about the wolves and the moon there. Is there anything you can think of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we kind of started to embody all of that, but on top of it was when we were on family hikes, a big thing that we did, the kids love to lead, going down the trail and cutting around hillsides and whatnot. And we get to a point where we can't see where the heck they went. And we just started howling. And it was this call to the wild, so to speak. And what was amazing was they howled back.
Yeah.
And we knew how far away they were. And then when we caught up to them, we kind of were like, that was amazing. Thank you for doing that. Number one. Number two, that's going to be the sticking thing that we do from here on out.
I think that actually started as the Elsa call into the wild from Frozen. Because our daughter was huge into that at the time, but it evolved into a wolf howl. Right. And so the problem with that, though, now is like random people will howl back.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, like that wasn't for you. We're not just being weird. We're trying to find our kids in the woods. But yeah, I guess in my mind, Tom, unless you can remember the moment, but I don't know that there was like a moment that we declared we're the Weber WOLFPACK. I think it just kind of naturally evolved over literally years of us just embodying the wolf and loving the wolf and talking about that, and this whole got your six mentality of the pack has your back. And
yeah, it just kind of, it resonated deeply with all of us in its own way. And the more we howled at the moon, I mean, it felt like it was getting deep seated.
Yeah.
And the kids loved it. I mean, we would bonfire, have s'mores, and then rip a healthy howl at the moon multiple times. And there's something primal about it too. I mean, it feels good. And to do that with your kin and your loved ones by side, I mean, there was times where we played games with it. Who could do, the loudest, or who could do the softest or the sweetest, or the most, wild or intense. And so,
or we'll play hide and howl outside while we bonfire
that
on
was amazing.
Full moon nights. That's fun. It's like our take on hide and seek outside.
So it definitely was natural to call ourselves the Weber WOLFPACK, and it felt very catchy and flows. So that played into it. But the bigger thing was, like you said, it's the wolf itself. The wolf is a beautiful, amazing creature that commands respect in the wild, much like a lion would in a jungle.
Yeah.
And that, I think, it's a powerful symbol, especially how they raise their cubs and, how they act as a group and a pack. And yeah, it's very family focused.
Yeah. And I think after just like years of conversations and all these little points, right? And talking about how we're raised and what we want to do differently and things that matter to us, we just kind of hit a turning point where we just really needed to be in the moment and also in it for the long run with our kids. Like, what do we want them to remember? What are we passing down to them?
Yeah.
I mean, I think a good way to describe the last couple of years is like a big season of questioning and reclaiming for us. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I feel like both of us have been the type that we constantly and never stop question everything that we do or see. And definitely the reclaiming of, our power and a lot in the life. We have one swing at the bat and it better be for the fences, because what are you here for?
Yeah. But just feeling too, I think like we need to give them something really solid to stand on, like these values.
Yeah.
And it needs to be more than just like inspirational quotes taped to the fridge. I think we need a compass. I think kind of over the last couple of days, as I've been thinking about this, that's more where WOLFPACK started. I love to make everything an acronym.
Totally.
But we shaped the values into an acronym, and it wasn't to be clever, it was to be clear because we wanted something memorable for our kids, something repeatable, not a rule book, a rhythm, a framework that would hold up through hard days and growing seasons and whatever curveballs life would throw at us. So each letter that we've chosen represents a value that we live by, and every one of those values has a why behind it. It's simple enough for our kids to connect with and deep enough for us to keep returning to as adults. So do you want to break them all down,
Sure.
Tom?
I think that's awesome.
It's 8 letters, 8 values. I think we can do it.
Yeah.
But they're not just words that we chose because they sounded good. Each one's tied to a need that we felt in our family, a pattern that we saw, or a lesson that we wanted to pass down. And we wrote them in a way that our kids could remember, but that still challenge us as parents.
And we edited for weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think for every letter that we shared with you, there's probably, God, 8 to 12 values that we discussed at length.
Totally.
Like for nights, we would spend a whole night on just one value sometimes. Just, Are we wander? Are we wander? Are we, what are we?
Wayfinder? Are we?
Yeah, we had that
So
too.
many.
So let's just walk through each one and share what it's meant to us along the way.
Right on. I can start.
Okay.
So WOLFPACK, the acronym for our family values, W, leading the way, for us was, mind, body, spirit. It's well-being, hands down, and our mind, body, and soul, we want to keep them balanced and whole, as catchy as that is, but it's true. I mean, when all of those are in sync, you feel whole and connected. And that in all reality, I think, is what the foundation of who we are. And well-being, hands down, was what we finally got to, because as our kids evolve and grow, we want them to dive deep into their own mind, body, and soul, and what that means to them and how they evolve into who they are and that connection they have with the divine, along with themselves and others and the relationships that they have. And so hands down, that was, I think, and you thought, I believe, very foundational.
I think we did have wonder or wander first. And
Because
when we
that's a
looked
big
at
part
all
who
of
we
the,
are.
yeah, and it is, but we felt like it was encapsulated in adventure as well.
Yeah.
And after sitting with what we thought were our final values for, I think it was almost a week, I realized that we didn't have body, mind, and whole. And like, we have this homestead and we're growing our own food and we're talking all about what you put into your body and your mind and how that affects you. And we don't have that represented anywhere in our values. So I think this was one of the last edits that we made, was making well-being be in place. I think it's so important. It is literally part of the reason that we bought the homestead.
Yeah.
And something that we spend hours on every day. And, you know, between nourishing our bodies and our minds and the content that we're reading and listening to and receiving and things that we're doing. So, I mean, I guess that's one thing that supports it now. But I think the other big piece of this for me was like teaching them that it's okay to rest.
Totally.
And I know that there's this balance with me being restless and rest, but we definitely teach them, listen to your body.
Yeah.
If you need a nap, that's not a punishment.
Kids think it is, though.
They do, but they also fall asleep when they're given space to take a nap.
Yes.
And I think that's super important. Like, their brains are just absorbing all this information and they need time to process it. And if they're having an off day or get a boo-boo, sometimes the best thing to offer them is like an Epsom salt bath, you know? So just these little moments and like permission to rest, I wish I had them more throughout my entire life. Because I feel like at almost 40, I'm having the hardest time, like telling myself it's okay to relax a little bit.
And what's awesome to see is how much they are wanting to do it without even prompted.
Yeah.
Situations.
Lighting candles.
Yeah.
Like they set the vibe for themselves.
It's amazing. And they even do it for each other.
Or us.
Yeah.
If they feel us, they'll be like, do you think you need a relaxing bath?
Or they carve out space for us to take a nap sometime.
Yeah.
They're like,
They do.
Shh, I know you need to take a nap. We'll be quiet. We're just going to go over here and read. Okay.
It's incredible. And I think that that's such a gift to them to be on display for them.
Let's carry on. So, openness. That is so massive on so many levels. You know, We wanted to be the house where it's safe to not know, because in that lies the curiosity with things. If we truly embody this forever learning environment and, always seeking to understand, that hands down is openness and being welcome to receiving new information, new insights, new knowledge, to gain wisdom through your years. If you're not open, how the heck are you going to grow? Seriously, how would if somebody is closed-minded on others' views, other information, other scenarios, whatever the case is, they have the filters up.
Yeah. And I think there's this saying, right? Like that if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And
Granny Goose says it to me all the time.
so I think we had this one initially at open-minded, and then we changed it to openness because we realized like you have to have both an open mind and an open heart.
Totally.
And sometimes people will say, oh yeah, I'm open-minded, but it's an
Really?
immediate no, right? And that sounds real open-minded to me. And so to me, you might think you have an open mind, but you also have to open your heart.
Yes.
Because without both of those gates being opened, you're not going to actually be able to really, really see, hear, and understand where people are coming from.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that is interesting about openness is like this balance of you can be open to hearing other people so they're seen, but like you don't always have to agree. That doesn't mean you have to ride them off. You can just let them share how they feel.
Yeah. And a big thing with one of your strengths being empathy, and me being a salesperson for decades, you kind of really can put yourself in someone's shoes, even though you'll never walk a mile in them and you can never fully understand. But there's, people with high empathy and a good read, it's a little easier to understand where people come from. And yeah, openness is a huge one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And being open to just new ideas, new experiences, and new perspectives. I think that'll serve them well.
Totally.
And us. I mean, it's helped us a lot.
Yeah.
So for L stands for love. And the saying that we have for that one is lead with love in all that you do. And I guess, Tom, what does love in action look like for you?
Ooh. A lot of times it's the little things. A lot of times it's the big things and a mix therein. It's the care that I see each of our kids give each other and us. And we kind of briefly touched on that, but a lot of it too is the amount of times that unprompted hugs come about.
Mm-hmm.
We always talk about giving lovies, which is just a simple hug or a morning or goodbye or whatever it is. But the big thing I think is how often, if something bad happens, not terrible, but like even the small things like hurt feelings or, tensions are rising and, they're at each other's throats or we're arguing about something, and trying to model a better way of having disagreements and tensions and showing, hey, at the end of the day, we may argue, we may have a disagreement, but we love each other so much. And yes, a hug is needed. And one thing that I think is great is we're quick to say, I'm sorry. And that is something that I don't think growing up, if I can recall, my parents weren't really big on knowing that they emotionally had an issue, physically had an issue that caused something with my sister and I to the point where they need to say, I'm sorry. I think the fact that we have that awareness now and we can see it in their faces or each other, and sometimes that's really hard to do, to own your crap.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. But
Totally.
like I felt that way. And I know that a lot of people talk about that. A sorry would go a long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think so leading with love and all that you do, I do. I think it's like just kissing and hugging, not just the kids, but
Yeah.
us, like modeling that we love each other for them. I think is really important because I didn't see that on display a ton either, like a lot of affection with parents. And I think that it's stigmatized, right? Like gross, but it's no, we love each other. You should love the person that you're with. And if
Yeah.
you do, show that you love that person. That's amazing for the kids to see all the time because you want that for your kids when they get married.
And as much as they say, ew, gross,
They love
they
it.
love it.
They way do.
They want to see you do that. They
I think
do.
this value too for me just is like, I think I overlove the kids. I don't even know if that's possible.
It's not.
But like to just, I don't want them to doubt for a second that they're loved by their parents or the pack.
Yeah.
I don't know. So love is cliche, yes, but it's not live, laugh, love, right? It's lead with love in all that you do. And I think it is so important.
But then it also embodies not only just the relationships in their lives, but lead with love in all that you do goes so far. I mean, what I like about it is it's a vague enough way to say it to the point where it could be a hobby. It could be your work, the relationships hands down, but also that encompassing factor that if you're not loving something, then okay, maybe it's time to shift gears.
Right. I mean, I don't know if you know that I do this, but I take 5 minutes before I'm recording every episode and just kind of, I just hope that these words help.
100%.
That they help heal, that they help someone, whether it's someone I know or someone I don't know, that just like they land and that this is important. And there's love in that, like that I really just want
to come across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love love.
Your name means
yeah,
love.
It does. Amanda means love in Latin.
Amandita.
Do you want to do F, Tom?
Absolutely. F. Family. And again, back to is it cliche? Heck no, it's not cliche because that's what this is all about.
Totally.
And the fact that we have an F in there, it was a no-brainer because the pack has your back. F for family, the pack. We couldn't have dialed it up any better because family, and I think a lot of it that we had talked about is at the end of the day, what truly matters. This little core group of little humans that we've created that are running around and experiencing life and doing things that they're going to go out into the world and create and build and get excited and come back and teach us. That is the hands down the thing that I look forward to the most. Is the things that our kids are going to come back and teach us.
Oh yeah, we'll very quickly become students to them.
Yes,
I think.
And some of it we're going to be like, totally, yep. Amazing, because it's we may already know that, but to see them light up about something and then want to convey it as if they're teaching us, heck yeah, I'm going to play like dumb if I have to, but no, when I think back to how many conversations I've had with some family members and seeing their mind expand from some of the talks that I've had with them about things that I've learned, I mean, that is phenomenal. And that to me is what's exciting. But family in general for us, and correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's at the end of the day, when you got the crust of yourself and your family, and you love the crust of that person, and you're on your deathbed and they're standing by your bedside. I mean, I can only imagine all of the flooding thoughts and memories coming back and cherishing those moments and wishing you had more time to be with your family. And what's awesome, as we grow up and we became husband and wife, started our own family, that's our core little group. That's our
WOLFPACK.
Our WOLFPACK.
Yeah. I just think that the kids live this out with each other so well and in our little wolf pack because
Yeah.
like your wolf pack name is Alpha. Mine is Luna, which means moon. And then our daughter's is the enforcer, right? So like the pack has your back. She's going to enforce that. Like if you're in the pack, she's got your back.
100%.
Like she's fierce. And I love that about her. And then our middle son is the defender. Like these are names that they chose for themselves. There's something about our son that just is, he is a justice warrior. Like he will not be wronged. He will not watch someone be wronged. He is very courageous and brave in that regard. And I love that about him. And then our baby, we've just kind of dubbed that the littlest one will always be Little Wolf until they can decide their name for themselves. So Alpha, Luna, Defender, Enforcer. I mean, I would say they live it out. They feel this.
Yeah.
They definitely feel the wolf pack.
Mm-hmm.
I think they love the sense of belonging to it and the fact of you're in the pack. I mean, other people like self-dub themselves into our wolf pack because
It's so funny.
it resonates with other people.
Can I be in the pack? We're like, it's kind of our thing.
But they pick a wolf name
Whatever.
and they howl with
Yeah.
us. Or, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of people that text me full moon photos or go look at the moon. It's
Thinking of you
I got
guys.
it.
Yeah. Or they greet us, how's our Weber Wolfpack doing? We're like, great.
Yeah, we love it.
We do. It's fun.
So P is passion. Discover what sets your soul on fire. And with this, I've got 2 really fun projects that we've done. So, and we'll talk more about these later in a wildfire roundtable, and we'll probably even bring them on at some point. But when they were both 4 years old, they wanted a horse. And so this was our daughter's idea first, and she started a horse fund. And we helped her raise $4,600 in 7 months, slinging eggs and selling lemonade. And she bought her horse, Libby. And she crushed it. Like,
Totally.
it was incredible. And then 2 years later, when our son wanted to start riding the horse, he said, nope, that's Sissy's. And he wanted to get his own. And she taught him how she did it. And he knew because he was there lockstep with her the whole way. But he took a different approach. Instead of selling like perfume and jelly, he got grandma to make him all the banana bread. And he raised his money to get his horse Tulip. And so I love these little passion projects that they're stepping into. And like right now, our daughter is not right now. She's always been super into cats, but she's working on a project called the Cat Chronicles. And she's really trying to self-publish her own book, like an early reader book. And she loves drawing and she's an amazing artist. And she's teaching herself Procreate, which is an iPad app. And she's drawing, illustrating, and authoring this book. And then we've even got like drawing lessons that she's doing. So her goal is to have this book published before she's done with 2nd grade. So to your point, like they're becoming our teachers. I didn't think this would be a project for her this year, but she showed an interest and we just started to really run with it.
How about our son's passion for Star Wars out of nowhere?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And before that, it was Pokemon. Like 2 things
You're literally
I swore.
wearing a Star Wars shirt.
I ordered a adult medium instead of a child medium. So now I rep it. But yeah, I don't know. I love passion. And I think that what's interesting is our passions may not be their passion. Our passions are for us to figure out, and their passions are for us to support.
Totally.
And I think that I'm just excited to see what all they're going to be really passionate about.
A for adventure. So again, this went back to our W conversation for weeks. Was, for us, a lot of what we love to do as a pack is go out and explore, go out and see the world, visit national parks and state parks and anything that we can get. If you got a creek running through it, we're stomping it. We want to see wildlife. We want to experience things. We want to go and do and be and see. And so much of that is that adventurous spirit. And so for adventure, explore boldly and experience life's all that life has. And even when we sold our house and bought this homestead, the house that was here, I mean, that's probably for a bigger story, but it ended up having to come down, and we lived in a camper.
We don't really remember how we got to that point.
Yeah.
It didn't make a ton of sense. And in hindsight, it makes more sense, I guess. Probably not from the outside, but we also don't need it to make sense for you. Like, we get it.
Yeah.
And that's all that really matters. Yeah, I guess the moral is we just really love adventure. And
100%.
we're okay not knowing a lot of things.
And I think it's exciting to go on an adventure. I mean, it's fun to see our kids light up when we tell them, hey, vacation, or hey, get in the car. We're going somewhere. Ooh, what are we doing? You know, and I remember growing up as a kid, that was something that my parents definitely did too, was when we didn't have anything to do, sometimes they just said, hey, load up in the car and we're going to go in a direction and see what we see. And usually it led to a lot of driving, but yeah, then it became a random dinner at some small town that you never set foot in before, or getting to see the thing on the side of the road that you didn't even know was in your state. And you're like, what the heck? Wow, the biggest frying pan in the world. Awesome. So glad I got to see that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like my grandpa was that way. He'd take us in and we'd drive up to Wisconsin and then be like, let's just drive across the border to Minnesota to say we've been to 3 states today.
Yeah, why not?
And that always felt so cool. And I think it, like, when you talk about adventure and vacations, like, you and me are really not the family that's like, the vacation starts when we get to Florida. No, it starts in the driveway. Like, the second we begin loading up, we are on vacation, and we're going to stop every 2 to 3 hours and stretch our legs and do something fun. And like, the whole thing is the adventure, not the destination is the adventure.
Right.
That was a big shift.
Yeah.
From, I think, how we grew up
to
what we're trying to do. And one that I think's fun, but it also, I think that's part of the reason too, that we just want to drive. Like, we just traded the car in and we put some miles on that car.
Yeah.
I think that's a testament to adventure and us really living that.
Yeah, especially looking at the age range of the car that we bought and how many, you didn't see many miles that high as to the one we just traded. We were like, we definitely drove a lot. But
right.
No, adventure is key.
It's really big for us. I guess they're all really big for us, which is why we picked them. So I should stop probably saying that after everyone.
It's hard.
And it is, because they all feel really important. And
this is why we created this.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time and thought on it. Do you want to talk about courage?
Yeah. And you nailed it. C is for courage. Right as I said that, I was thinking of the poem.
The poem I wrote.
C is for courage. Bravely venture into the unknown with confidence. Man.
Are you going to say the poem?
No, I'm not going to say the poem.
Tom.
Go ahead.
This one is especially a good one.
It is a good one.
Because so if you know me, I
like
write a poem for everything.
Every time I think of the poem, I can see our kids marching through the living room singing it.
Totally. I think it resonates with them. They love the little poems going along with the values.
And I think, the part of that you bring up and, this being value driven for all of these parts of the acronym, I mean, teaching our kids to stand up, teaching our kids to lift up, teaching our kids to raise up, teaching our kids to get loud if they have to fight if they have to. So much of life comes at you and you're constantly bobbing and weaving and dodging or trying to stay down in the foxhole. And sometimes you got to be on offense. And I think for most people, that's hard for them to step up and be courageous in the middle of a firefight. And I know that's a very, Army kind of technical thing, but it's true. Like, being brave in the moment when you feel that you have to, takes courage.
Yeah.
And sometimes that in and of itself is very hard. And I can easily relate back to many times in the military where I didn't think I could do something. But you know what? When I did it, my level of self-confidence went through the roof. That I think is so big for young kids, for young adults especially. Because I was, 18, 19, 20 years old. 20 years old in combat? Come on. Yeah, courage is very, very important.
Yeah, hearing you say all that, right? It's all outward facing, like outside of the walls. And I definitely feel like societally, we need to stand up and say things that we know aren't right or things, right? That's like the whole reason that Out Loud and On Purpose exists. But within these four walls, I think one of the most courageous things that I can do is to like set it down. So many times when the kids argue or when something happens and they come and they like, if something breaks or something happens that they know like, I don't know if I should tell mom and dad, but they value the trust and they want to come tell us. And I can just see it in their eyes that they're already beating themselves up. Like they're already really like embarrassed or ashamed. And I think the most courageous thing to do at that point is to look at them and be like, what did little Mandy need from her mom and dad at that age when she was coming with that? And half the time I just like kind of tear up myself and I'm like, you just need a hug.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It can be replaced, like it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And I always just try to go back to I'm always more upset when you lie about it than whatever actually happened. To me, that doesn't really even matter. It's more just being honest. And the fact that you're coming to me is the most important thing. And then just being able to meet them and know, like they're a child, like developmentally that is appropriate. I have to allow grace for that. And they really just need love and to be rewarded for being honest. That is courageous as well, is to not choose.
That's cycle breaking, 100%.
For sure.
Because that's a mind shift that you're finding yourself doing in real time. And
it's
retraining
hard.
your synapses in your brain to not have that reaction,
about
to have
them
a different reaction.
Looking at me, like when I see their eyes and I'm like, I just like, it's almost like looking into a mirror.
Yeah.
And it just stops me where it's, wow. So I don't know. I also yes, I 100% believe and agree with you. Stand up, be courageous, be brave, but also know when to back down.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But like in society, I think stand up in your home, probably. Yeah. See your kids.
Courage.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
I do. Final value here is K, kinship. We went back and forth on K a lot.
We did.
Kindness and a whole bunch of things. But kinship to us was build meaningful connections and nurture relationships. I think, and you've kind of alluded to this before, we're at the point in our lives where we're not trying to cast the largest net ever, a deeper net.
Yeah.
Is what we're after, to catch bigger fish, more meaningful relationships, and to know who's actually there for us. And that's, like friendships, family, rituals, traditions, like things like that matter.
100%.
Who's there for us?
Yeah.
And how they show up for you.
I use this as an example quite often, and I think you do too, of just, how many of your high school friends are you still best friends with that you see on a regular basis? And we're both like, hardly any. And so the weight that everybody puts on these early and often relationships, and I get it as a kid, you're kind of like, especially if you have to move away from a close friend, it can be devastating. But it's because as a kid, you can't foresee I'm going to have a ton of friends in my life, and friends are going to come and go. And for whatever season of life that it is in, And we went through the same thing even as adults of, no hard feelings of that person at all. It was I had blast, and they were a great friend for many years during this period of my life, but we've just kind of drifted away and went and grew in different directions, and no hard feelings whatsoever.
I think it's that some people are meant to be chapters or even just pages in your book, not necessarily your whole book.
Yeah.
Right? You look at our marriage. It's only been 12 years.
Yeah.
Out of a 40-year book. Right? Like, we have the rest to go, but you weren't in the previous chapters.
Right.
Right? So I think if you look at it as in people are chapters or pages in your book, you don't have to anchor one friendship to your whole life.
Yeah. And I think too is the connections with, our family and the rituals that we're instilling that go towards this kinship feeling of, if something that we did growing or having our kids grow up in our household that they take on into their household and they truly embody and love because that's how they grew up. I mean, God, what better feeling as a parent can you have if, dude, look at our kids doing life the way that, they want to raise their kids in the same way. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I would be high five.
And we'll talk about TGIF in another episode, but that's one thing that I think they love. They love to have people over for TGIF. That is really resonating with them. I think personally for me, the one thing that I hope that they'll remember the most growing up with us is all the books that we read aloud to them.
Yeah.
And that we always stop and pause and howl at the full moon. Like those two things. If they're in their 30s, 40s texting me full moon pictures, or them howling or telling me to go howl, or mailing me books or telling me what they're reading, like I would just be forever giddy.
I can see this in my mind's eye right now, but it gets me every time when I see our son. He'll be in a full-on sprint to the door or wherever, and he's just trucking, and then all of a sudden he spies the moon over the rooftop of the barn or whatever, and he's just, ooh, the moon. And then he continues running.
Yeah.
We're like, yes, I had a kid.
It's cute because they even think that the stars wait to come out until we get home.
Right.
Because they can't see the stars with the car roof.
Yeah.
And so it's just little things like that I'm like, oh man, to be a kid.
We should write all this stuff
so
down,
amazing.
honestly.
We're recording a podcast, so
Even
we essentially are.
But still, there's way more than just that.
Honey, we've spent a lot of time on this. A lot. And it's deep stuff. Like,
yeah,
we could talk forever about this. And
it's fun.
It is. It's a legacy. And I think it's just, what are we doing? And what do we want to instill in them? And what do we hope and pray that they'll instill in their own children?
Yeah.
Do you remember when this really started clicking for our family? Like, when did you feel like, okay, we're really building something special here? Or do you feel like you felt that way?
Yeah. Going through the framework that we created with WOLFPACK and how much re-edits we were going through and just the conversations that we were having around which word we're going to land on and why, and the conversations around the values and what that means for raising our kids in that way. I think at one point I thought to myself, this is, for lack of a better word, so wildly intentional. But it was something that I've never embarked on. And I think, like, I saw it in your eyes too. If at some point we were just like, this is something that needs to happen, and this feels totally right. And I think the fantastic thing about how this plays into, calling ourselves the Weber WOLFPACK and leaning into the acronym for WOLFPACK and how that shapes the values, that feedback loop that it generates with our kids over the years of, it full circle 100%, because not only does it instill the values deeply, but every time we say the word Weber WOLFPACK or come on pack, let's go WOLFPACK, or all these things, then boom, it's brain synapse right back to those values, whether they like it or not, or whether they're conscious of it. And there's probably some scientific term for that, but that's huge. And, if anybody out there wants to do something similar like what we've done with their own family, I mean, finding that way to do that, I think, is going to be key for so many. And we already have an example of somebody that kind of took our framework and ran with it and did that for their family. I think they came up with another acronym.
They came up with CARES.
Right.
So for them, it wasn't an animal at all. They wanted I think it was the husband actually that really latched onto this. And he brought it to his wife with the acronym fully fleshed out with CARE. And she added an S value to it. I can't remember what it was. But
I can't either.
Yeah, for their family, they did CARES.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fantastic. It doesn't have to be an animal. That's just, we love nature, and that made a lot of sense for us.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Since you're with the kids 95% of the time.
88 probably.
Sure. I guess, have you seen the kids respond in any way or live out these values and could recognize it in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is like when they're reading picture books or when we're talking about something that happened or something they observed, they'll be like, that's a Weber value. Or that's a WOLFPACK value.
Yeah.
Courage. He stood up, Mom.
Yeah.
And they call out the values in books, in interactions they see in public, in interactions that they have with other people. Like they're always bringing it back to the values, like on their own. Or if it's something that has happened and is coming full circle for the kids, be like, do you think there's a Weber value here? Is that what we talk about? And I think to that end too, like they keep us honest on them as well, which is part of the framework, is to make sure that we're growing and being challenged as well. It's not just a preachy thing for them.
Right,
it's
right.
a living thing for all of us.
Yeah. Living our values.
Yeah, because it's one thing to write down your values, but it's entirely different to live them, especially when it's real life, right?
Yeah.
And that's been the work, letting these values shape our everyday decisions and using them as a compass when things are getting loud, messy, or hard.
Yeah. Compass is such a good, and then we actually got a compass to use as a prop.
We did.
It's awesome.
Well, when we first started this, it wasn't just about creating something catchy for the kids. We wanted a culture that felt holistic, mind, body, and spirit, something actionable, not just aspirational, and something that could grow with us and with them across all of our ages and seasons. So we kept going. And we didn't just name the values. We started building systems around them. We built in books and read alouds that reflect the values. We wove them into our homeschool rhythm, our dinner conversations, and our seasonal rituals. And the WOLFPACK became our foundation, not just for discipline or decision-making, but for joy, growth, and how we celebrate as a family. And then we just couldn't really stop, and we kept thinking bigger and bigger. And from this foundation, we created an entire rhythm to help us reflect, grow, and live these values out loud, like our GROW goal-setting system, our HOWL reflections, and even rite of passage patch projects for the kids as they hit new milestones. Yes, I did just drop 2 new acronyms, GROW and HOWL.
Oh, snap.
But don't you think that deserves its own episode, Tom? I don't even know how long we've been talking at this point.
Yeah,
But
it definitely does because, and those were, it definitely does.
yeah, it's too
They're
much good
so
stuff.
big.
And I think there's just so much that we haven't even,
There's a lot to unpack in those two.
because we're really just getting started. I mean, I think if we've learned anything, it's that family culture isn't a one-time project.
Not at
It's
all.
a living ecosystem. It's something that we're building to evolve so that each year and season, our family can revisit our values, reflect on them, and grow together. So WOLFPACK is the foundation. But the real work, it's how we, Tom, show up.
Yeah.
Week after week, season after season.
100%.
Babe, before we wrap up, when you think about how far we've come with all of this,
Yeah.
not just in naming all the values, but in living them. And when you start to think about the legacy that we're building for our kids, what's one thing that you hope the kids will carry with them into adulthood.
Wow, that's a
It's
powerful
huge.
question.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
And I love it though, because the one thing, it's so hard to just pick the one thing, and we've alluded to it a lot throughout this whole conversation, but I really do believe that when they go out and create their own families, that they find their own ways to do something similar and build their legacy with their family, which in turn is still our family.
Yeah.
It's our extended big family. And so much of what we've talked about for many years, you and I, is how we are definitely doing some kind of disruption in our ancestral lineage as far as breaking patterns.
In so many ways.
In so many ways. And that's a whole nother episode too. But yeah, I really just want to see the legacy that they create with their family. And again, going back to, I hope to God they just see you and I as being intentional with how we raised them, loving the childhood that they had, not having to unlearn all sorts of things or felt damaged in any way, shape, or form, and that they can have healthy relationships, that they're adult conversations when they're adults. And I mean, God dang, how many times do we feel like we're talking to kids when it's like, you're a 60-year-old person?
Yeah, we have better conversations with our kids than a lot of adults.
No doubt. And you're just like,
disgusting.
Why is it that I'm more mature at 40 than you are twice my age? This is insane.
Or why is our 8-year-old daughter more mature than...
That too.
Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard. And I think a lot of people navigate that.
Yeah. A lot of self-awareness needs to go through the roof for a lot of people. So that, I think, I would love to see. And, every generation is growing in leaps and bounds for their evolution as far as their consciousness. And collectively, I think it's amazing. That's a big one for me, is seeing the legacy that they kind of create and running with all of this that we've hopefully instilled in them throughout these golden years with them as youngins, our little earthlings.
Honey, thank you. Thanks for building the Wolfpack values with me, and for our kids, and for our Wolfpack, and then for being here on this podcast to share.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having this conversation without you, because you were such an integral part of the whole thing. So thank you, seriously.
As you were.
It was fun. I mean, it's still fun. I feel like we're not even barely scratching the surface here.
No, and there's so much more we could dive into with them and each other, and how do we play this out, and how do we continue to evolve this and have fun throughout the years?
Yeah, and I think I'm trying to build stuff so that way other families can get a footing and similar to this, and trying to document like what we did to get where we're going.
Yeah.
So for you listening, did this stir something in you? Have you been craving more clarity in your home, more rhythm, more connection? Or maybe you're just starting to notice the culture that's already been forming around you, and you're wondering, what would it look like to shape it on purpose? If you're ready to start naming your own family culture, or wondering how to bring more rhythm and reflection into your home, make sure you subscribe. You don't have to figure it all out today. Just start noticing. You've got more to build on than you think. Now it's your turn. Tell me, what's one value or phrase that you want your kids to remember 20 years from now? Send me a direct message. I'd love to hear what your family stands for. You don't need to be perfect to create something meaningful. You just need to name what matters and live it together. Your family framework won't be WOLFPACK. It'll be something all your own, because your family culture, it's already forming, and you have the power to shape it on purpose. So if you're ready to begin, I made you something super simple to help. It's just a one-page guide called Start Naming Your Family Culture. And it's 3 questions you can ask around the dinner table tonight. No pressure, just presence. You'll find the link in the show notes or at wildlyintentional.com/tools. You don't have to parent on accident. You don't have to live on autopilot. You can choose what matters. You can name it, model it, and live it together. This isn't about perfection. It's about purpose. It's about saying, this is who we are. This is the legacy we're building. If your heart tugged or your mind shifted while listening, that's your cue. Send this episode to someone else walking a similar path. The ripple starts in quiet moments like this. Who knows what it might grow into? Next on Wildly Intentional, we're going into the known with a conversation about storylines, bloodlines, and the wisdom that lives in our bones. I'm sitting down with Fred Meyer to talk about ancestral memory, land connection, and what it really means to come home to yourself. It's raw, grounded, and unlike anything that we've aired so far. Don't miss it. Thank you for being here, Wild One. We are honored to walk this path beside you. Until next time, stay rooted, be brave, live wildly intentional.